Children should be kept from all kinds of instruction that may make errors possible until their 16th year, that is to say, from philosophy, religion, and general views of every description, because it is the errors that are acquired in the early days that remain, as a rule, ineradicable, and because the faculty of judgment is the last to arrive at maturity. Welcome to another video where we go over one of Arthur Schopenhauer's essays. We've done previous videos on Schopenhauer's opinions on reading and writing and noise. We'll link those in the description. As always, the entire essay is very short and well worth reading. There's a link in the description to where you can download the essay for free. With that said, let's take a look at Schopenhauer's essay on education. In the natural state, humans form ideas based on their observations of the world. Experience comes before learning. This is how humans make sense of the world around them. When ideas are generated in this way, there is an obvious link between an observation and the subsequent idea. Traditional education flips this dynamic on its head. In traditional, or artificial education, as Schopenhauer calls it, the idea precedes the experience. Artificial education is having one's head crammed full of ideas, derived from hearing others talk, from learning and reading, before one has anything like an extensive knowledge of the world as it is and as one sees it. What happens when you learn the ideas, before you have the necessary experience, is you will apply those ideas wrongly as soon as you step out of the classroom into the real world. And so it is that education perverts the mind. And this is why, after a long spell of learning and reading, we enter the world, in our youth, with views that are partly simple, partly perverted. This is because our head is full of ideas which we are now trying to make use of, but almost always apply wrongly. The teacher is busy cramming the head of the student full of ideas, instead of teaching the student how to think in the first place. Children will then grow up with a worldview that is based on hearsay and opinion, and they are rarely equipped to handle the real world. Children are submerged in a ready-made apparatus of opinion and prejudice. And if the real world conflicts with this web of ideas, which is bound to happen as the child grows up, then he will not change his opinion, but rather lash out at the world instead. Although lacking the proper term, Schopenhauer is describing here what we would call cognitive dissonance today. He has never attempted to abstract fundamental ideas from his own observations and experience, because he has got everything ready-made from other people. And it is for this very reason that he and countless others are so insipid and shallow. And even if they are taught things that are objectively correct, they do not know why it is correct. An important part of Schopenhauer's ideal education is making sure children understand the meaning of words. One must next take care that children do not use words with which they have no clear meaning. Even children have, as a rule, the unhappy tendency of being satisfied with words instead of wishing to understand things and of learning words by heart so that they may make use of them when they are in a difficulty. This tendency clings to them afterwards, so that the knowledge of many learned men becomes mere verbosity. This fits neatly into Schopenhauer's main point, that education should seek to put observation before ideas and thus mimic the natural way in which humans learn things. However, Schopenhauer also notes that during youth, our faculties of judgment are not yet fully developed. This is why he proposes that in the first years of a child's education, there will be no subject matter that falls into the category of what we call the humanities today. So there is no room for philosophy, religion, or matters of opinion. Until age 16, a child should be taught only those subjects in which objective errors are possible, for example, mathematics or languages. Schopenhauer also mentions history, but only the kind of history that is concerned with memorization, such as remembering dates. The added benefit of this approach, says Schopenhauer, is that our memory is the strongest during our youth, and those things we memorize when we are young, we often remember for life. Therefore, it's of great importance that these youthful years are used to let children soak up as much quality information as possible. Schopenhauer proposes that a group of experts from every branch of knowledge comes together every 10 years to decide on a canon of essential knowledge. Schopenhauer argues that maturity must come with experience. Today, we might say this is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. For Schopenhauer, engaging with the real world is of extreme importance. Instead, therefore, of hastening to place mere books in their hands, one should make them gradually acquainted with things and the circumstances of human life, and above everything, one should take care to guide them to a clear grasp of reality, and to teach them to obtain their ideas directly from the real world, and to form them in keeping with it, but not to get them from elsewhere, as from books, fables, or what others have said. Those who have learned everything from books and not from the real world lack common sense. In this way, traditional education even kills common sense. This is why so few men of learning have such sound common sense as is quite common among the illiterate. If you've watched our video on Schopenhauer's rules for not reading, you'll have noticed some similarities here. As always, Schopenhauer is remarkably consistent. Even in his main philosophy, he stresses the importance of engaging with the real world, of learning about the natural sciences, of making observations in nature to become a better philosopher. And in education too, children should spend more time in nature and getting to know life, instead of getting to know books. What do you think about Schopenhauer's assessment? Do you agree? Or do you think children should be taught philosophy very early on in their educational career? Let us know what you think in the comments. We're curious to hear your opinion. Again, if you want to read the entire essay for yourself, you can download it for free from the link in the description. If you want more Schopenhauer, you can watch our big video on his main work, The World as Will and Representation. Or you can watch our analysis of another essay of his on authorship and style on how to become a better writer. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.